Well, the Browns 20-6 winners here at MetLife Stadium. They are now 10-4, and the playoffs again. It just starts to feel more and more inevitable every single week, and I would imagine we're going to see the Browns finally on one of those clinching scenarios next week when the NFL sends those out on Tuesday. Mary Kay, let's get to this. This game was it's hard to describe. Like it was so much good for the Browns, but they were just so efficient today and so methodical. It was almost, I don't want to say boring, but it was just sort of okay. The Browns were better today. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, they were a lot better, and I think Dan, I think one of the things that added to sort of the flat feeling here was the fact that there were no fans, and
That's true.
this was one of the first games that I've been to. Although there were no fans, I don't think there were any fans in Baltimore either, but it felt different. I mean, this just felt like a big, loud, cavernous place where there just didn't seem to be much going on. Now, if the Browns, were at home and had their 12,000 and they were scoring, and Baker was setting a record for completion percentage of over 84%, I think it would have had a more energetic feel to it. But here, there was just no noise for anything because they only scored 6 points and nobody was cheering for the Browns and nobody was cheering for anybody. So I think that lent to the sort of like the sort of feel to this, but there was no to it at all when you think about it, because they're at 10 victories. They're at double-digit victories for the first time since 2007. They're 10-4 for the first time since 1994. And here's the thing that's going on with this offense. They've just got Baker Mayfield's got the running game and the play action just working like clockwork to the point where it's child's play for them right now. It's so easy for them to just suck in the defense with the play action because the running game is so damn good. You can't, you have to respect it. And then the line is protecting incredibly well. It's just all kind of came together at the same time. Baker is throwing the ball on the money. And then you've got guys like Jarvis that are healthy now. And he is, he can catch anything. Jarvis can catch absolutely anything. I'm amazed by his hands. Everybody should be amazed by what he can do. And it's just a well-oiled machine right now. And I think they are going to make the playoffs, obviously, at this point. And I think teams should probably fear playing them.
Listen to some of these drives today. The first one lasted 4:31, and they ended up turning it over on downs. But they had a touchdown drive of 6:41, 13 plays, 75 yards. Another one of 4:55, 10 plays, 95 yards. That essentially ended the first half. They had a 14 play. How about this? 14 play, 115-yard drive that took up 8:04. That's factoring in some of the penalties there. And then they also had their final two drives even were 3:52 and 3:02. I mean, the Browns really just controlled this football game from start to finish. And I think I was getting this sense a little bit. I was getting it from some folks on Twitter, some of our Football Insider subscribers. They're watching these games today. They're seeing that nobody's helping out the Browns. And I was getting this feeling of like, uh-oh, are the Browns going to go to MetLife Stadium and blow a game they're supposed to win? And it was never really in question. From the minute that the Giants failed on that fake field goal or whatever we want to call it, the game was just never in question. They came out and they controlled things. And you said it it's about Baker Mayfield right now at this point. The first half of the season, or however many games, is all about that run game and all about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And Baker Mayfield has just gone to a level that I think is better than what we saw in his rookie year over those final 8 games. I think this is a different Baker Mayfield just as far as protecting the football, the way he's running this offense. You can just see that it's all really come together here over the last month for him.
Of course, these guys were playing Colt McCoy. This was not their starting quarterback. This was Colt McCoy, who's only started. This was his 4th start since 2014. So that makes a difference. Okay. When you are not playing against somebody's starting quarterback, that does make a difference in the football game. So that should be noted. But Colt did a nice job of just kind of managing the game for them. But it just wasn't, it wasn't what they hoped to do tonight.
Well, one thing we really do have to talk about too before you go here is Miles Garrett.
Mhm.
Um, we've talked about this a few times. I thought he came back against Tennessee and looked really good. And then against Baltimore, struggled a little bit, really struggled today, came up with a half sack late. He admitted on Friday that he's doing breathing treatments. He said tonight after the game, he had a coughing fit. And you could just tell listening to him in the post game.
Mhm.
He's clearing his throat and he was struggling in that post game. So this is something to keep an eye on here moving forward. How much is he going to continue to improve week to week here? And what can the Browns get out of him? Because it's to a point now where it's a little bit concerning because we're seeing that it is causing issues out there for Miles.
Yes, it absolutely 100% is, to the point where I actually felt bad asking him to answer a question later on in the post game press conference. I felt like he was struggling even a little bit to get the words out. And he admitted that he had just gone through a coughing fit in the locker room. That's a concern. So I think what's happening is it's almost like an exercise induced. I'm not going to diagnose him, but the 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 exertion of playing a football game is kind of getting things sort of revved up in his lungs, and he's struggling during the game, and they showed that they showed it on the telecast, and he admitted it, and he just said, hopefully he can do whatever, something that he can do, whatever he can, so that he is 100% by the playoffs. He knows that he's not going to be 100% over the next two games, and it's just a matter of managing it now for him, because he wants to give it his all. He wants to be out there. He wants to help his team, but he's battling out there right now. So you got to give him a lot of credit.